It takes 4,000 liters of clean water to produce just one piece of beefsteak while producing 5 kilogram carbon dioxide. Livestock emissions are accountable for 15% of direct global greenhouse gas emissions, more than all the cars, trains, ships, airplanes combined. Humans only take 10% of energy from eating meat and 90% energy from plants. Yet the land for growing livestock and growing the food we feed to the livestock takes around 40% of the land in the United States. The meat consumption in the United States is high, at 125 kg per person every year, around 2.5 times as the global average. And New Yorker consumes more meat than almost all the cities in America. Interestingly, New York City also has the second largest vegan and vegetarian population, and in recent years, vegan meat has gradually become popular in the United States. There is an opportunity for manufacturing plant-based meat in New York City. Near the Bush Terminal Pier Park, a vegan meat factory wrapped by green walls has just been built. Meanwhile, on the ground-level public space, the mayor of New York City, representatives of the factory, and the architect are giving speeches to showcase their achievements of the newly inaugurated shrinking factory.
We are proposing a vertical factory that aggregates farming of the raw material, and efficient yet theatrical machinery production line bring the factory closer to the vibrant city. A laboratory that does researches not only on the statistic spec of the vegan meat but also the cultural and artisanal aspect of the product. Goal to attract more local residents working here, more visitors coming here taking cooking class in the factory. Shrink the distance between production stages and create a communal workspace for both white and blue-collar workers.
Indoor vertical farming has taken root in more urban environments with limited land space. The warehouse-style 30,000 square feet Bowery vertical farm in New Jersey is only 10 miles away from Manhattan. It involves building up rather than building horizontally. In regards to agriculture, as it encourages people to use growing shelves in order to create a controlled growing environment. The current formula for a warehouse-style hydroponic farm consumes 70% less clean water and occupy over 100 times less land to produce the same amount of vegetable. However, the tremendous amount of electricity usage for heat and artificial light results in the high price of the final product and 7 to 20 times more carbon footprint than conventionally grown crops. Our hydroponic farming wall, which offers 13,500 cubic meters of growing space, warps around the factory for maximizing sunlight absorbing. The pleating of the facade also helps sunlight with a better angle to come in and bounce into the interior, which can save up to 65% of electricity and energy for hydroponic farming. In collaboration with Beyond Meat experts, we want to carefully select the plants we grow on the farm and where to grow them. We realized that different plants require a different amount of light and space to grow properly, so we categorized the required plants into long daylight plants and short daylight plants, which determines the planting location of each species in our design. The project both take the advantages of ground-level topography to collect the runoff water bottom to the up, and roof platform to collect the raining water up-down, through the infrastructure pipe of hydroponic vertical farming delivering water resources, thus creating an enclosed recycle loop. During the winter season, the machinery on the top floor are also enabled to melt the snow and transform into water for further use.
Our factory is highly automated. The workspace is more like a laboratory with few workers. After harvesting the required crops from the farming wall, 2 or 3 workers are assigned to transport them to the machines in the upper part of the factory, where the plants are processed into raw material for the production of vegan meat. These raw materials are then delivered to the vegan meat production line below by other 2 workers. To achieve the texture of the real meat, we put green peas protein through a thermoplastic extrusion machine to mimic the complex 3-dimensional protein fibers network of the real meat. We also managed to mass produce a crucial ingredient called heme using soy plant extraction. In the end, it can produce 500 tons of vegan meat per year. The meat will be centrally packaged and then distributed to the market via truck elevator. At the same time, the additional needed ingredients are imported and transported by this elevator. Our factory not only provides laboratories around the vegan meat production line to allow workers and lab personnel to communicate more comfortably, but also introduces the educational space open to the public, offering cooking classes on vegan meat to promote this new food type, which has more opportunities to receive advices from visitors.
After the conference, there is a Q&A session, and some of the audiences arise their questions and concerns.
Hi, I'm wondering how am I going to fit in with those lab people, since it is quite different from my previous working place.
The production line is set up around the farming wall, and the center of each floor is a communal space of laboratory and educational space. Helps you to learn the machinery skills in the production process, and provide engagement between the blue and white collar worker.
Hi, as you mentioned, the factory provides 500 tons vegan meat and they are way less the demand of distribution. How do you define the position of this factory?
Our goal is replacing 1% of the New York beef consumption, which is 10,000 tons. We are treating this as the first of series of vertical farms that could be built along the coastline when vegan meat gradually become popular and tastier.
In March, with the arrival of spring, the factory starts its cycle of working and the workers plant their first round of crops. In April and May, the first harvest of short daylight and crops like green beans and mung beans finishes. In June and July, most crops like soybean get their first harvest. In August, the end of summer, the workers plant their crops for the second round, and with the arrival of fall, the second harvest is completed. Thanks to indoor vertical farming, New York's winter did not prevent the third crop from being planted, and the following February brought the third harvest of crops. Years and years later, the shrinking factory, just like crops 1, 2, and 3, grows up within the city fabric of concrete forest.